Buongiorno a tutti. Allora, prima di entrare nello specifico,
Good morning. Before talking about precipitation of quercetin in the winery, I would like to tell you something about the winery called Orce. Is an historic winery. It was established in 1980, says the slide, and has, probably it was 1890, and it belongs to the family Cinzano since 1973. Vineyards, 142 hectares. Then we have olive orchards, 28 hectares. We have mounds, 140 hectares, and forest, 230 hectares. Yearly production is 8,000 quintals of grape. We produce 750,000 bottles, including 240,000 of Brunello di Montalcino. All of the years since the beginning of the work of this winery, there has been cooperation with the organizations, institutes, including Milano and Firenze as universities. In 2005, we had a zoning project together with the University of Milano, and then starting in the 90s, together with the University of Firenze, we started with some tests in relation to soil management and grass coverage and thinning of the bunches, and also identification of clones. After all these research studies, we realized that we had to start from scratch again in investigating a number of things. We now know that quercetin is produced by the plant when there is a light stress and water stress situation as well. Our winery does not irrigate, so we pay the price for that. Nature is extraordinary, though, and it produces quercetin in order to protect the plant. And evidently, all the techniques that had been investigated, especially in the past, in order to try and help ripening and unveil in a way the bunches, have to be reconsidered because an excess in light, of course, creates problems. We are an organic farming winery, and we obtained the certification for that. And this means that this organic estate has to make a number of sacrifices, because there are products that you find on the market that help you precipitate quercetin, but we cannot use it because we are organic. And I offer you this picture because I want to give you an idea of what really quercetin is in the bottle and what happens during precipitation. In our winery, starting in 2004, we found the dregs in one batch of Brunello. It was a mucilage, white color, not heavy, and it had filament under the microscope, such as cellulose, for instance, has, or also glass fiber. So we identified as the main component quercetin aglycone together with camphorol aglycone, and these led us to a number of discussions and observations. These dregs appeared 2 years after bottling. So after quite some time, clearly there has been hydrolysis of quercetin, or the flavonol was released by complexes. These these dregs had to be found, was found especially in 0.75 liter bottles, and that was more rapid as a process. In the very same batch, we had bottles which presented the phenomenon and bottles which did not. Wines made with and from different cultivars seem not to suffer from the same problem. This is a picture that, of course, is terrible when you look at it. And you see that the same type of deposit was found both in large barrels and in barriques when racking off. This was racked after 1 year. And the quantity of bottled of the bottle dregs is reduced when you increase the racking offs. And it seems that the top quality wines are specifically subject to this phenomenon, where you have a more concentration and extractability of phenols in the skins. In order to limit risks and in order to prevent this phenomenon from happening, we invented the practice of oxygenation by means of racking, and that helped us keep the phenomenon under control. We only had a modest loss in anthocyanins and reduction in total flavonols, and also minor changes in terms of color intensity. But since we are fully organic, this is the only way we have to fight against this phenomenon. Hence the project that was done with this rural development program. You see the details on the slide. This is the call that we applied for. What we want to do with this project is to identify quercetin aspects in Sangiovese Tuscany wines and examine conditions which can favor its formation. Then this also entails investments in the Brunello di Montalcino chain of production, which reduce production costs, which can also promote premium quality wines. This is a cooperation project that has been made with us as leaders of the project, and you see the number of the partners: Coldorcia, Consorzio Vino Brunello di Montalcino, and we have also, of course, scientific consultants, Motonet and Romani from the University of Florence, and then we have Isvea. The final objective of the project is that of having an analytical monitoring for the sector, which is suitable in reducing and eliminating factors that are detrimental for the stability of the product, especially with reference to quercetin deposition, and this has to be done through technology and various approaches. The final objectives are the analytical characterization of the flavonolic content in grapes and wine by means of analysis processes and technical tests aimed at monitoring their content and stability, taking into consideration the quality properties of wines obtained by means of different fermentation and aging techniques. The benefits that we expect to have is prevention of economic and commercial damage, and we also share this problem with other areas, of course, so we are all aware of the economic aspects. We expect to have benefits from new aging practices, which will tend to stabilizing quercetin and the polyphenols of wine, so that we also obtain a higher intensity in color. It is not a problem with Sangiovese wines, but anyway, we want to work on that, and also duration. And quercetin is one of the substances in wine which can also be good for health, and so we want to stabilize it instead of simply removing it with invasive treatments, which, by the way, have not been totally investigated yet. I would like to conclude by thanking Dr. Fabrizio Bindocci, former president of the Consorzio del Brunello di Montalcino, who was one of the key supporters of the project. Thank you.